G'day guys. So in this video I'm going to tell you everything you need to know when it comes to pre-approvals. So what is a pre-approval? It's essentially where you go to your bank and you say, okay, based on my current circumstances, would I be able to buy a house at X amount, or how much can I afford to borrow to buy a place? Now, probably the biggest thing you need to know with pre-approvals is that not all lenders actually fully assess pre-approval, which means a lot of banks will have an automated system where they have some sort of metrics running in the background, which will give you sort of a soft pre-approval of sorts. And only some lenders now will actually fully assess a pre-approval where it goes in front of a human credit assessor who looks at your financial position and your circumstances and will give you a pre-approval on that basis. Now, the reason that not many lenders actually will fully assess pre-approvals these days is because they realize that only about 15% of their pre-approvals are actually going through to settlement. So they decided it wasn't worth their time to fully assess these pre-approvals. It's really important that you actually understand the basis of your pre-approval, if it's been fully assessed or not, because in the situation where you're going to an auction or something, you don't have a finance clause, you really want to make sure that it's actually been fully assessed by a person, by a credit assessor. Now, another thing that you should know when it comes to pre-approvals is that they're usually valid for about 90 days or so, sometimes up to 120 days. And with certain lenders, if your financial position hasn't really changed too much, you can actually get extended for another 90 days. So you can actually have 6 months of pre-approvals. Now, probably the last thing, one of the most important things to know as well about pre-approvals is that when it comes to getting your pre-approval, you'll notice that there's actually a condition on it, which says, subject to acceptable security, which essentially means that even though you're pre-approved, that the lender has figured out that you can afford to borrow X amount, that you've got enough of a deposit, they still need the property that you're buying to be within their acceptable securities. So a really common example is where people might buy a property that's like a few meters from high voltage power lines. Not many lenders actually will borrow money on that basis. So as well as knowing how your pre-approval has actually been assessed, whether it's fully assessed, you also need to know what the acceptable securities are for the lender that you've gone with. So if you have any other questions on pre-approvals, you can hit me up on 0738998311 or hugh@linkadvance.com.au. Thanks.